Welcome to the Fortified Life podcast, where we learn how to develop a dependency on Jesus in the marketplace. From the boardroom to the bathroom, God is with you. Here's our host, author, speaker, teacher, encourager, stewardship coach, and my husband, the man they call Mr. Fortified, Jason Davis.
What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to another week here on the Fortified Life podcast. We are passionate about building a dependency on Jesus and the marketplace. Of course, I'm Mr. Fortify, Jason Davis. Every week we get to talk with other coaches, business owners, CEOs, authors. We get to talk to them and they give us principles that they live by, biblical principles, and also things that they've seen, observed, and experienced in the marketplace, and we get to learn from them. And it's no different this week. What is very special about this week is, and I love all of my guests, but the person that we have on the show tonight is one of my favorite people. My wife and I are good friends with her and her husband, and I already know it's going to be a great conversation. But before I bring her on, let me introduce you to her. Combining fitness, nutrition, and therapy in an intimate environment, NASM Master Trainer and Nutritional Therapy Practitioner Nicole DeWard has been helping clients and many healthcare professionals locally and nationally to transform their lives for the past 10 years. She holds certifications in Corrective Exercise, behavioral change, group personal training, health coaching, and nutrition response testing. She is the owner of Shine Health and Wellness and also the founder of Rise Coffee and Tea, a nonprofit coffee shop that employs extraordinary individuals with special needs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Fortified Life, Nicole DeWard. Nicole, what's going on?
Hello. Thank you so much, Jason. Happy to be here tonight.
Yes, I'm very excited, Nicole, to have you on. And I've been looking forward to this conversation for some time.
Thank you so much.
Nicole, as we get started, people look at your bio and they're like, wow, that's a lot of certifications. And this lady knows a lot of stuff. We know you just didn't roll over in 2023, Nicole, with all of the education and experience that you had. So kind of take us back a little bit on your journey professionally and how you got to where you are today.
That's such a great question. I often ask myself, how did I get here? And how is this a girl who I actually thought that I was going to be in the music industry in Nashville when I was in high school. Had attended Belmont University for a hot minute and decided college was not for me. Ended up meeting and marrying my husband at the age of 19, and I had kids by the time I was 21. And so thinking back, now that my youngest child is now 18, I'm like, what has happened with my career? And just so grateful that God from the beginning had given me a love. I can trace it back to the time I was very, very little, helping my mom in the beauty shop. She had a salon in our house growing up, and I've just always had a love for people. And my given name my last name is Shine, and just really have always believed that God has given me a very specific and special calling on my life to shine His light in the world, and doing that by loving and serving people. And so here I am, fast forward, after I had my children, really started to focus on taking care of myself. It really wasn't modeled to me growing up. My mom made a lot of attempts on her to take care of her health, and yet really found just such a difficulty. And I really had a passion and desire to not only, at that point, was to help myself. And I guess after waiting tables for so many years, again, in my customer service love for people, my friends at the gym were like, man, you'd be a fantastic personal trainer. And it was entirely laughable. And so when it was available to there was an opportunity to get my personal training certification for $50. And I was like, said to my husband, honey, could I try it? And if I stink at it, I'll only be out $50. And he was like, sure, go ahead. And I had been known to do lots of different side hustles and jobs because I would get bored with something and change. And so he is still completely impressed that I'm still in the same field after all these years. But I do continue to just have such a hunger for growth and a hunger to learn, and just believe that God designed our bodies so intricately that the more I can learn about organ systems and muscles and mindsets, it's just such a service for myself, but also just a gift that I believe that God's called me to serve the world in.
Amen, Nicole. You're getting me excited, taking me through the backstory. I know our spouses, we've heard a lot of the deep backstory, and we don't have time to get into it tonight. But I always love when you talk about the intricacies of your story and just how God has moved supernaturally. Mm-hmm. There's one thing you said, Nicole, that a lot of your friends were like, "Oh, wow, you would be great." In your experience, Nicole, there are times where people in our lives can make recommendations and they can be negative. But then there are times where people make recommendations and it's wise counsel. So with you actually taking up the advice and saying, hey, you know what, maybe there is something to this health thing. When you look back on that, and as you talk to some of the audience, how do you kind of discern those moments when you're given advice? Because for you listened and look how it turned out. But for some other folks, that same sort of maybe advice or environment may not have turned out the same way. So how have you kind of learned to discern when people share different things with you?
That's a great question, and definitely a rule I live by. I truly believe that when our path is being directed a certain way, that God allows people to speak into our life. He allows doors to be open and doors to be closed. And the thing that I have definitely learned is if He's brought you to something, it's not going to necessarily be easy. So I think that a lot of times we look for those moments of, man, this is hard, so this must not be what God wants me to do. And the reality is that even in the hard times, he does provide peace. He says is that His peace passes all understanding. And so even in this hard moment, I have this peace that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and call me crazy, but I believe and trust, and I hold tight to my faith that this is what I believe God is calling me to do. And so oftentimes it's not in a big booming voice. It's not in a neon sign, but it's in that still small voice. It's in this place of knowing, this place of trust, this place of peace that I think in a chaotic world, so many of us have lost what it's like to feel peace and to be in the stillness and know that He is God and He has called you to something and He will provide to bring you through it. But I don't know about you, Jason, but God is oftentimes in the 11th hour, right? It's in the, I don't think I can hold on to this any longer. And He provides, He gives instruction, He provides that way. And so you're always in this place of, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but I don't know how this is going to happen. And it seems impossible, but He is a God of the possible. And so when we are moving in our careers, because I do believe that God has lots of opportunities for us to be successful in our careers, whether successful in changing a lot of lives or getting a message out or even monetarily. And so I believe that as He allows that to happen, that it's not always easy, but He does call us to a place of trusting in Him. And many years ago, I remember watching The War Room and I had been maybe just new in my wellness business, and I had felt like I needed an administrative assistant. Like I just felt like I couldn't keep it all together. There was so much going on, and I really didn't set out to have a big business or a 40-hour work week. I was blessed to have my husband caring for our family, and I just got to do the things that I could have fun. And my husband always said, I'm so glad that you get to be in people's lives to share, and have intimate relationships, to really be more ministerial. And he has a job that he loves, of course, but he doesn't necessarily get to have intimate relationships with people like I do. And so that's always been a blessing for our family, to be really kind of missional in that way through our wellness business. But I remember watching The War Room and feeling called to have this prayer closet, and created this prayer closet and started putting Post-it notes on my wall. And I felt the Lord one day say, like, you've needed an administrative assistant, but really I'm in charge, and you're just doing what I'm telling you to do. And it was really just a place of like organizing my day by being with him and being in the quiet and in the stillness, that by praying and presenting my requests and being in that stillness was so directive in preparing myself for the day. And I don't sit in the closet anymore because my husband's sleeping at the place that I was doing it. But now on the couch, years later, I read a book called The Two Chairs. If anyone's never read Two Chairs, I'd highly recommend. But in Two Chairs, it speaks to imagining and seeing Jesus sitting next to you as you pray and start your day, and really just being open to listening and being in his presence and seeing what he has for you for the day. It's an incredible book.
That is powerful, Nicole. And I agree on the book recommendation. That is an excellent book. We will make sure that gets in the show notes for sure.
Oh, great.
Nicole, you really highlighted the stillness and being in the stillness. And you've kind of started to lay this out for us a little bit. But when you think about different faith turning points in your life, is there maybe, it could be recent, it could be years ago, but maybe give us a couple of those major faith turning points for you that really shaped your relationship with Christ?
Definitely many throughout the years, lots of traumatic events and moments of truly trusting. But two that I will highlight tonight that were just put on my heart. One being, I mentioned when I was 21, we had our first baby, and my husband and I had prayed. There's another great book that I read called Supernatural Childbirth, but all about just really seeking the Lord through pregnancy. And we really wanted that to be an experience that was glorifying to God and allowed us to draw closer. And what a place of trust as you're carrying life. And so that was an incredible experience for my husband and I to go through. And things were going great, and just really felt so connected together and to the Lord as we were going through this experience. And so imagine our surprise when the doctor came in after we delivered this beautiful baby girl, and he said, "So your daughter has Down syndrome," and we're like, "I think you have the wrong room." And so he's like, "No," and we went on to, of course, find out that she, in fact, did have Down syndrome, and it was a moment of truly rocking our world. And we were reminded that 3 weeks prior to delivering, we were at a prayer meeting, and our pastor had asked if we had a desire for more faith to come forward. And I've always been I fully trust the Lord and faith person, but my husband is an engineer, very logical. And he said, "I want more faith." And our pastor said, "Are you sure you want to ask for that? Because the Lord tends to give what you're asking, and you may be surprised how he allows it in your life." And so there was some more words that were given to him through prayer, but really true. The pastor said, "I'm really sensing that there's something that's coming that is going to seem like kryptonite to you, but it will actually make you stronger." And through the years so she is now 21 years old, our little girl, Rebecca, and her having Down syndrome has truly shaped my business. It's shaped our marriage. It's shaped our worldview. It's shaped just being in the special needs community has forever changed our life and our children's lives and our family's lives. And it was pivotal. And I look back and how the Lord prepared us for that moment, especially my husband, and really God calling him to be the leader and the rock of our family, and how my husband has led us well over this. We've been married 23 years. And so I'm just, as a father and a leader and a provider, and just so grateful for how God allowed that one circumstance in our life to shape so much of our lives and our faith, drawing us closer to him. And the second thing I would share is that several years ago, maybe not 4 or 5 years ago, I had really sensed that God was calling us to open a coffee shop to employ people with special needs. And I'm like, Lord, do you know all the things I'm doing right now? There is no margin here. And I think you got the wrong girl, because I already have a business. I already have a virtual, I already have all these things. And I talked about peace at the beginning of the call. So I had so much unrest in my disobedience for years, and just kept coming back to me. It wouldn't go away. And so I knew I was being disobedient, but knew I didn't have margin for what I was feeling like he was asking me to do. And I remember so clearly one moment when I was praying, he said, if you would trust me, I'll provide the people to help you. I will provide the people to help you. Because I said, I cannot do this by myself. And he said, you won't do it by yourself. I will provide people to help you. And I have to say, as we went, it's a long story, but as we opened Rise Coffee and Tea, the week COVID hit the world, it was like, are you kidding me right now? Remember what you said? And so here we are. We just celebrated 3 years. We just became a nonprofit. Again, something I said I would never like to do. But the Lord just continued to provide the opportunity and the direction, and continuing to follow the peace that passes all understanding is how those decisions were made. And it was not without a lot of heartache and fear and crying and all the emotions, but at the end of the day, peace of doing the right thing for the right reason and fully trusting the Lord in those decisions. And you can't help but have your faith be totally, it's kind of like, personal trainer. When you want to grow your biceps, you've got to lift heavy weights to break those suckers down so that they can grow back stronger. And I believe that's what the Lord allows in our life, is for us to be challenged and to be rocked and to be stripped down so that he can grow his spirit within us so much stronger, and our faith gets so much deeper in the process.
My goodness, Nicole, asking for more faith at childbirth and opening a coffee shop. Who would have known?
I know, right?
Wow. All right, Nicole, let's get ready to nerd out a little bit.
All right.
You wear two hats. Well, first of all, you wear multiple hats.
I wear a lot of hats.
We wear a lot of hats. We're going to talk about two of them. We're only going to talk about two. You are the owner of Shine Health and Wellness, as well as the founder of Rise Coffee and Tea. Let's start with Shine, and let's nerd out for a second. How you get to help people with their health goals. Talk to us about Shine and the various aspects of fitness, nutrition, and exercise.
Well, I had always known if I were to open, I never, by the way, wanted to open my own thing. Again, total God story how that happened, but knew that my focus was not to be on a gym, but to be this community of like-minded individuals who had a heart to really pursue health at a deeper level. And so we focus on fitness, nutrition, and therapy. And from a fitness side, myself and all the trainers at Shine are certified through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is the gold standard in personal training. Many of the trainers, myself included, have additional certifications in corrective exercise and behavior change, nutrition coaching. And we do that so that we continue to hone our craft and to be as educated as possible. But in reality, the most educated you can be is by the people that you get to assist. And so as people come along that are looking for support and looking to reach goals, then there are always things that you don't know. And so you have to have a heart of growth and a desire to continue to educate yourself so that you can learn and come alongside people in a way that is individualized for them. And sometimes there's just never a way to always know everything before you meet with someone. And so at Shine, we come alongside in the area of the fitness side, and we do a lot of innovative testing through the in-body and through movement assessments in order to know exactly what's going on with someone's body, to provide prescriptive foam rolling protocol, which helps to prepare the body for training. We then have a very specific protocol, a training design through the NASM called our Optimal Performance Training Model, and it is backed by science more than I could ever design a program better. And so why not follow exactly what our organization has set out for us? So we have some creativity, of course, in selection of exercises, but it definitely follows a system and process that gets amazing, amazing results. Creating functional bodies that help us do the things in our life, like being able to have longevity and to be with, like I have older folks wanting to get on the floor with their grandkids or take care of aging spouses, or being able to travel, and these things that they can do without illness and without injury. And so we're just honored at Shine to be able to provide that opportunity for people through nutrition. 80% of our results come from nutrition and only 20% from exercise. And so I am certified as a nutritional therapist. Actually just graduated tonight officially on Zoom. So yay.
Oh, wow. Congrats. Wow.
So that was just tonight at 7. It's been a busy night for me, but really honored to be a part of the Nutritional Therapy Association and provide, I liken nutritional therapy to more like detective work of what's going on with our organ systems, and looking at the highest priority to be able to address nutritional, lifestyle, and supplemental to be able to move someone forward with their health concerns and goals. And then I do some energetic testing as well around using nutrition response testing to be able to fine-tune that even more, using several different companies that we utilize for supplemental assistance that the body needs for healing. And, of course, regular nutrition coaching. What is a protein, a carb, and a fat, and really helping people move forward, balancing their blood sugar. We have several different plans that help people do that, and building a bridge from where they are to where they want to be. And then finally, we do therapy. We have cupping, we have massage therapy. We use have a myofascial therapist that works on staff, and we do PNF stretching, which is a trainer-assisted stretch, where we're really creating an opportunity for the body to not just prepare. A lot of people think of stretching to prepare their body for training, but we prepare, we train, and then we restore. And so a lot of therapy is in restoration, but we also teach a lot of therapeutic things for preparation as well. And so in a nutshell, that's what we offer at Shine, but not to... I would be remiss if I didn't say the biggest thing that we offer at Shine is a heart to come alongside, as we do at Rise, to know and to love and to serve. And so having a community of like-minded people is always my desire. And so at Shine, we have a community of people that desire to move themselves forward, not just check a box to exercise, but really want to be a part of a group of others that have a heart to move themselves forward so they can be the best they can be in their life, so that they can live long and they can have a healthy, vibrant life. And so it's really an honor to lead such a group like that. So
Nicole,
that's Shine.
You have gotten everybody excited. Before you go to Rise, I've got to come back to one thing. I remember when I did this years ago with you. You've got to explain to everyone what an in-body is.
Oh, an in-body. An in-body. People say, is this like a doctor's scale? Because it kind of looks like that scary thing that you have to stand on that always tells you you're 10 pounds heavier than you think you are at the doctor. But the in-body is a medical-grade device that sends 8 frequencies through the body. We actually start with a stadiometer that gets an exact measurement of your height, so that when the in-body is sending those 8 frequencies through, it's using your exact height versus a guesstimate. Most people are pretty off in their guesstimate of how tall they are. And so we start with that and then go through the in-body, ask just some basic questions, obviously just for data collection, and then it takes about 45 seconds to run through each limb of your body as well as your trunk to be able to assess not just from a body fat perspective. Yes, we are looking at body fat, but we're looking at how many pounds of muscle you have, with the symmetry from right to left side and even upper to lower. That helps us to be able to design specific plans that help to provide that symmetry. So when somebody is having issues with pain, we can see that in the in-body and then be able to address it in our therapeutic protocol. And then it also shows us level of visceral adiposity. People often get really upset about the fat they can pinch, but we often forget about the fat that lies around our organs that pushes our abdomen outward. And so when our abdomen is pushed outward, that's visceral adiposity. And so the machine gives kind of a grade or a score on the level of visceral adiposity and then what the recommended is. And so we can use that as a tool to see here's where we are to start. And then here it does give a recommended amount of pounds to lose, and it uses an equation based on the amount of muscle and the height and so on to be able to figure out, okay, based on this person's bone and skeletal fiber, this is how much body fat is either recommended to lose or gain, how much muscle to lose or gain. So it gives a very accurate picture. One of my favorite things it does also is it gives a look at how much water is in the body. From an inflammatory perspective, we can see if the body's dehydrated. We can see if their habits are on point. We maybe even to pinpoint if there's some organs like the pancreas or heart that are not doing a very good job. And so we see a lot of water retention when some of those things are going on as well. So it's just an incredible tool to be able to get a good starting point. And then clients at Shine do an in-body on a monthly basis to check progress and be able to fine-tune nutrition plans and exercise plans to be sure we're on track to reach goals. And we do test people off the street as well. If people aren't a member at Shine, we do offer in-body testing and plans to help people move forward that would like to do testing as well.
Love that, Nicole. I was like, I gotta get her to tell everybody about the in-body. So I didn't want us to let that one go by without you breaking that down for the people. Thank you. Now we get to your other, we'll take off the Shine hat and we'll put on the Rise Coffee and Tea hat. And Nicole, this was unique because it morphed into a nonprofit. So talk about that piece and then kind of get into where you see Rise going. Okay.
Well, as I mentioned, this was in order to have peace, I had to say, okay, fine. I kind of felt like a little kid, like, okay, fine. If I really have to do it, I will. I must say I've always loved coffee shops, though. I always thought I would open a coffee shop. And so when I opened Shine, I remember saying to my husband, well, I guess I'm not going to open a coffee shop. And we had a little Keurig. And I said, I guess this is the closest we're getting to a coffee shop right here in this little room. We got our Keurig. And yet God, of course, had other plans. And so when I was feeling part of that thought process and kind of sense around coffee shops, a coffee shop for people with special needs, was that in school when my daughter was going through the public school system, starting in middle school, they started having coffee shop as a way to learn life skills. And so she did that through middle school and then into high school. And I thought, well, where is this that people can work at a coffee shop when use the skills that they learned in middle and high school? Like, where is that possible? Well, coupled with the fact that my daughter, Becca, doesn't know a stranger, she would go home with anybody, which is a little scary as a parent. And so I thought if she were to do carts at Kroger or even bag groceries, somebody could get her to go home with them, and everyone would be none the wiser. And so I thought that was not going to be something that was good for my heart to always be concerned about that. And so where is a safe place that she can work? And then I felt like the Lord started birthing this dream and this vision of a coffee shop connected to shine, rise and shine, where people could be known, where they could be loved and they could be served. And I grew up watching Cheers and loved when people walked into the Cheers bar and they would say, scream their name when they walked in the door. And I thought, man, to be known like that, especially in a society that we live in right now, to be known in that way. And so we had a vision for that at the coffee shop. And then also, where is it where somebody with special needs can do all the jobs, not just sweep the floors and not just clean the bathroom, but to bake and to make coffee and to take orders and to count the money. And so we started dreaming of these things as, of course, I moved forward in obedience. The Lord just kept opening more and more doors. And so over the last several years, all this has been morphed time after time and continued to fine tune. But when we went to do our soft open, we were going to grand open on March 21, 2020. And so on March 14, we went to open for our soft open. That was the week the world shut down. And so, as I mentioned before, it was super scary. Like, Lord, what have we done? And why did you tell us to do this? And we just put a personal guarantee on this giant lease. And here I am now doing virtual personal training. I had never done any personal training on Zoom. And here I'm trying to run a coffee shop with no customers and no staff. And so in April, we did go ahead and open the drive-through, and they were just trying times. I don't have time to get into the details about all the protocols with COVID, but the Lord sustained us. And so after several years, to be honest, coffee shops are not super profitable. And when your payroll is about triple what it normally would be, from a business perspective, I had two business coaches that were like, Nicole, you really need to go nonprofit. This is not a viable business. You are in ministry. This is missional. That's what nonprofits are for. And to be honest, my pride kind of kept me in this. I want to be a coffee shop that can be successful, that employs people with special needs. I want to show business owners that you can have a profitable business employing people with special needs. And we were succeeding in so many ways, just not financially. Part of the reason being that we're set back from the road. We are a destination coffee shop. People hear about us and come and visit. And we do have a lot of regulars, but a $3 to $5 cup of coffee doesn't keep you profitable. And so I had to swallow my pride, to be honest, because I really wanted to show it could be done. And so we were just, there were a lot of, I felt like kind of the cards are stacked against us in some ways with COVID and being set back from the road, and people that are going out for coffee are often wanting it to be fast. We live in such a fast-paced world. And the thing I'll tell you about people with special needs is we're not fast. They see life so different. It's enjoyment and delight in the moment. And that's what people get when they come to Rise. There's no hurry. There's another great book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. I'd really recommend that as well. But that's what I remember in this place of like people coming to a coffee shop to rest and to enjoy one another's company, to know others. And our staff leads the way in that. They want to sit and talk to you and share things with you, and they're not fast. And so in a world that is all about efficiency and being hurried and getting people out the door, where we can totally understand that's just not what we do. And so when you can't sell a whole lot of cups of coffee, there's not a lot of profit. And so we were able in February 1st, we were able to become a nonprofit organization. And God has been so good in opening up doors of opportunity for raising funds. And we are always looking to continue to raise funds. One of the things that the board has noticed is how much more margin we don't have now that I'm paying people to do all the things I was doing for free. And so it's a lot. My staff consistently says, for not being we don't have a great amount of sales, which we're always looking to improve upon and to serve more people, but it's still the same amount of work. And so the work that's involved, and it's such a blessed work. We have team leads and managers that come alongside our staff with special needs and what we call buddies who work one-on-one with them. And it's such a joy that we wouldn't trade for anything, but it is a lot of work. And so we make a lot of opportunities like baking. A lot of people with special needs love to bake. And so we bake all of our own goods. All of our goods are gluten-free. We're a strictly gluten-free coffee shop. And so we really try and stand out in that way, not above, but just in standing out and being a gluten-free shop. And we employ people with special needs. And that is we're forward-facing with that. And so we're not going to try and be fast. And we're not going to sell a gluten-filled cookie because that's what we do. And so as we look to the future, we'd love to continue to grow what we call champions. Learning right now how to be an executive director of a nonprofit, a new hat to wear. But really developing relationships with other businesses in our community that would come alongside and champion the mission with us. And continue to provide these opportunities. We have 17 individuals with special needs on staff, and just really providing this place for them to shine. And so that's really our heart to continue to grow that. And I had a call with a guy today who said, I came to your shop after my mom had just died, and I stood there talking to Sean. Sean's one of our amazing baristas, we call them. And he said, I just couldn't help it. I felt so much better just being at your shop, being surrounded by your staff, especially Sean. And I just couldn't help but become a sponsor. I wanted to we have a sponsorship program for our baristas. And I just couldn't help but sponsor him because I want this mission and this coffee shop to be around forever. And I thought, that is such a great thing to hear today, of all days, and every day, that hearing what people think and how they come alongside and what led them to become a sponsor is just so incredible and such an honor to lead that. And so we are looking at some opportunities to continue to spread Rise Love. We have a potential opportunity that's on the horizon where we may be able to open some other Rise coffee and teas around. So stay tuned for more information on that. But what I do know is we have a waiting list of people with special needs that want to work at Rise. So there's just so much need for people to have this type of environment. And so we would really love to make it possible for more Rise coffee and teas to exist. And we've done a lot of the legwork. We just need to have people follow that process, and a lot of people are reaching out for it. And so navigating the right path to take, and that is kind of our next step in figuring all that out.
Wow, Nicole, it sounds like a lot of awesome things coming up. Folks, as you hear it first here on the Fortified Life, Nicole said, hey, she finished a program in the same night, and she gave us insight into some expansion, and she did not have to tell us that, and she still chose to. So that is why you listen to the show for sure. Nicole, before we get to how upcoming events and how people can connect with you at Rise or Shine, I had to say that in order. I wanted to ask this question because you're like the perfect case study. Like if someone was going back and getting their MBA, they'd be like, "Ooh, Nicole, let me like dig in," because you've owned a business and a nonprofit, and you've also provided a service-based business and a product-based business. Now, I understand that you serve in both, but coffee and pastries versus you're running in-bodies and having training sessions. So can you kind of speak and give some nuggets of wisdom around that, owning a product-based business versus a service-based business, and also running a business and running a nonprofit?
Well, the first thing I'll say is a case study. That's understatement. So I will say I would not advise it. There's my current my current book I'm reading is called A Sacred Pace.
Yes, another good one.
The constant message for me is in years ago, I've really felt, oftentimes when I feel like the Lord's putting something on my heart, it's in my voice. It's his voice and he's in me. So, but I really believed that he put this on my heart to live in the middle of everything I love. To live in the middle of everything I love. And so where I often feel, I remember watching a movie when I was younger, and there was like somebody on the street, and he like was selling things out of his trench coat, and he like would open his trench coat with all the trinkets to sell, and then the other side of his coat he had other things to sell. I kind of feel like that sometimes, to be honest, where, as you mentioned, hats, like which hat am I wearing in this moment? And in 5 minutes I have a different hat on. And so I do believe that I don't believe I'm as efficient as I could be if I only had one or two things that I was doing. But I also continue to believe that for whatever reason, the Lord has this for me at this time. I don't believe I go seeking lots of things to continue to do. But like I said before, it's about finding the peace and operating in peace, love, and joy. And as you follow peace, love, and joy, you say yes to the Lord and whatever he puts in your path. And of course, I'm so grateful and blessed to have a husband who I go to, who gives me wisdom. And he has told me no for several things. Not right now. This is not right for our family. And so I'm really grateful to have such a godly man to cover me and to lead in that way as well. And of course, we seek the Lord together, and we definitely move forward when we feel like the Lord is, we may be scared and we may feel ill-equipped, but we believe that the Lord will provide what we need. And so that's how we've operated our entire lives. And so we will continue to operate in that because he has never let us down. And so from an MBA perspective, I would think somebody going to school for that would think that is not really the best way to go, Miss Nicole. And so I would probably completely agree with that. But I will say following your heart and your passion is the best thing to do. And so I've often been told, you know what, if you were to just do this one business, you'd actually be more profitable and you would have so much more time on your hands. And so it would be best for you just to do that. And even hearing the words to just do that, there are times I think, well, it sounds great to not be so busy and not have so many things to do, but I would feel disobedient because where that sounds so attractive. You know, one of our messages that we just heard at church was, it sounds good, but it's just not quite right. And so I believe that oftentimes there are things that come about in our life that sound right, but they're just a little off. And so where it sounds good for that to happen or to be not doing these other things until the Lord releases me from those things, I believe I'm living in the middle of everything I love and seeking the peace and the love and the joy that comes in all of those things. And it's my opportunity to grow because I could keep myself super busy doing all the things. There's a difference between working in your business and working on your business. And so that's been a really difficult thing for me to learn, and finding ways to bring other people to the team that have skills and giftings that just because I could do it doesn't mean I should do it. And so finding people who have those skills in those other areas that can do the things that can help so that it can open up opportunity for my genius, for the way that the Lord's called me and gifted me in to use those skills. And so that's my current modus operandi that I'm in. My MO that I'm working on is, all right, Lord, what have you uniquely gifted me in, and what things can I offload, and how can I be financially responsible to pay those people what they're worth to do those things for me? And so I think that's often as a business owner, what you, there's a really fine line and a balance in what we are doing in our business to grow whether we have a service or a product. And what does the marketing look like? And I'm not in marketing. So how do I have the financial ability to pay somebody to do the marketing so that I can get my message out? And, you're constantly in that place. And so what better than to be in the presence of the Lord and ask him those questions, because I believe God cares about all those things. And so we can get advice from books, and we can definitely learn and take classes and courses. But at the end of the day, the Lord has the best plan for us, and he will always reveal that as we're patient and as we're listening. And sometimes he reveals it through people and through courses, right, and books as well. And so staying in that place of ask, seek, knock, and he will give us what we need. So I'm super in all of that, but do look, I'm very legacy driven as far as who Lord is coming after me to take this up. I believe that this wasn't started to be stopped, but it was started to be passed. And I know that for a lot of the things that I'm doing are not things for me to be doing forever. They're things to be passed. And so the Lord has already opened up doors for some legacy to be passed, which is great. And I look forward to more of that, to be able to train up the next generation to serve. And I say to some of my trainers, if I could give you like what is that thing called? A jump drive. I'm like, what is that? We're like, to upload like all the things I know, and I can just plug it in and help you with your career. That would be learn all the mistakes that I've made so you don't make them. That would be awesome. But it doesn't work that way, right? And a lot of the things that we learn are by experience. And so I know full well that I always have a heart to serve people. God, the Lord has given me such a heart for his people. And so I'm excited to see how the Lord continues to use that in business and in life.
Amen, Nicole. And that's an excellent breakdown. For those pesky MBA, so by the way, we don't hate business school, folks. So that's disclaimer. But for those pesky MBA students, Nicole said, operate in the fruit of the Spirit, have a spouse that covers you, live in the middle, have a continuous improvement mindset, which is Kaizen, and have a legacy to be passed. So that's what we say to the case study people. Those were just some quick things.
That's pretty good. I should write those notes down.
Yeah, hey, listen, this is going to be available.
Be in the show notes?
Oh, absolutely. And on demand. This is the beautiful thing about technology. You get to replay. Man, what was that Nicole said? What was the summary that Jason gave of what Nicole said? Listen, that's why you listen to the show. Nicole, we are having too much fun. I could talk to you for another 3 hours, and we can get our spouses together and talk for another 5 hours. But we've got to let the people go. Before we go, Nicole, any exciting news or events coming up with Rise or Shine, and then all the wonderful work you're doing, how can people reach out to you, connect with you, with everything that Rise and or Shine has going on?
Well, we always have lots of events going on at Rise. A huge part of our mission is community. And so providing what we call our special friends events, they're available up to 3 to 5 times a month. And we have opportunities for people to come alongside and volunteer we could not do our events without our volunteers. We do buddy up in those events, anywhere from bingo and karaoke to dances to art to bingo. Like, we just have so many opportunities. We have movie night and things that people can come alongside and really create community with our special friends. And so all of our events are emailed out once a month. But if you're not on our email list, you can always find us on Facebook, Rise Coffee Tea. And all of our events are listed on there as well. If you, there's a contact form on our website, rise-coffeetea.com. And on the website, you can go to the contact form if you'd like to be on our volunteer list, or to reach out for some more information about how you can be a sponsor or make a donation to our organization. We are a 501c3, and definitely looking to partner with some corporate sponsors, kind of up and coming, as we really would like to have on our website a partnership page with all of our corporate sponsors. And so we are working on that side of the champion world. And we have a huge heart for small business. So every Saturday from 9 to 12 at Rise, we have Small Business Saturday, where we highlight through the week on our Facebook page the 1 or 2 businesses that will have a table out on our porch. And they're welcome. They're anywhere from businesses to authors for book signings, hint, hint, Jason, anything like that, where people want to get the word out about who they are, what they're doing. We have real estate agents come, and insurance, and people who make jewelry, and people who have art, and authors. So it's really exciting to be able to promote local businesses and people, and then also to be able to have them invite their world to come and see us. And so it's definitely mutually beneficial, and we really look to continue that as well. Coming up in February, it's this fall. I don't have the exact date, but we have what's called a Night to Rise and Shine. The Night to Rise and Shine, if you've heard the Tim Tebow's Night to Shine, when that was on hiatus during COVID, we did decide to have a small formal dance for our special friends called the Night to Rise and Shine, with the red carpet and the photo booths and the catered dinner. And it was awesome. So we've now had 2 of those, and they are so fun to see all of our special friends and formals and dancing and DJ and all those things. So that is coming up. That information will be on our Facebook page and our website soon. But we need about 50 volunteers for that event. So definitely one to be a part of. And then as far as Shine goes, we are going to be starting a series. As I mentioned, I just graduated as a nutritional therapist tonight. And so we're going to start a series of Foundations of Health. And so we will have some workshops available. I probably will start a series on Zoom for virtual clients as well as in person. We do have virtual training at Shine as well as in-person training. And so we try to meet people where they are, as far as if they're like currently, I live in Roswell, Georgia, but I'm currently in Holland, Michigan on this call with you. And so it's just amazing that with the way technology works, we can be where we are and be fully present. And so the same thing with a health journey is that you can be where you are and be fully present due to how technology works. And so I'm super grateful for that. And so really looking to increase our education through workshops at Shine, and then also just continue to build our community of like-minded people, which is super important to our mission as well.
Love that, Nicole. I'm so excited for you. I look forward to all the events and the progress. I'll be staying in touch. So
I love it. I did want to mention for Shine's contact information, Shine HW is our Facebook page, and shinehw.com is our website. And if you're looking to get in touch with me, my cell phone is actually attached to the shinehw.com website. So you're welcome to hit me up by text as the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Now, folks, she gave you the way to hit her up now. So go hit her up. You got the number, you got the website, you got social media. So go rise and shine.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason, so much for the opportunity. I so appreciate it.
Absolutely, Nicole. Love you and your husband. And Nicole is a great person, and you should definitely go check out both Rise and Shine. Mm-hmm. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on the show this evening.
Thanks, Jason. Have a great night.
You too. Folks, that wraps up tonight, but you know how we leave things. And by the way, we'll have all that information on the show notes. Nicole dropped copious books and references. We had a Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. We had an E-Myth shout out. We had 2 chairs. I mean, it was just, we'll have all of that because leaders are readers. But make sure you go to fortifiedlifepodcast.com or jerichoforce.com/podcast. And under the blog section, you'll see the show notes. Don't compartmentalize your faith and the marketplace. And remember, from the boardroom to the bathroom, God is with you. We'll see you next time on the Fortified Life podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Fortified Life podcast. You can catch us live on Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time and on demand. Check out fortifiedlifepodcast.com for more details. To learn how to live out your faith in the marketplace, grab a copy of Jason Davis's book, Fortified, Being Rooted in God's Plan for Work and Business. Available on Amazon.
You're listening to Do or Slide Worldwide Podcast.